Hey guys, welcome to Dopeless. We have a special guest here. We're gonna ask you a few questions. Oh yeah, I'm Jason.
Ronnie.
Ronnie. You always cut me off. My hetero life mate Jeremy and Ronnie, my best friend in the whole world. We have, we have a special guest here. He's a pretty big presence on Facebook, and I'm sure you guys have seen some of his lives. He's gonna tell a little bit about himself there. Without further ado, Mr. Dru Hicks.
What's going on, guys? It's great to be
Yeah,
here.
thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you
me.
very much. Yeah. I guess we'll you want to dive right into it? Yeah. What was it like, man? Like what was it like in the throes of your addiction, man?
You know, I've been trying to wrap my head around what at at the height of my addiction. I would say, it took me. See, I'm a slow learner. So it took me
I
about
think we
15 years.
are.
It took me about 15 years to get into realizing that I was in a real shitty situation. Okay. Um, and so I guess my height of my addiction was, uh, losing my children. At that time was when I lost my girls. I mean, I'm no different than the most addicts across the country and around the world. That when we use drugs, and the authorities are brought in, we're gonna lose your kids. Okay, and I started using, at the age of 16. I started IV drug using at the age of 17. So at the age of 17, I'm shooting dope, and that's just not normal. Okay, I should have been a junior in high school thinking about my future, but I'm over here banging dope, and uh, there's a. I'm not saying one drug is any worse than the next drug, but I know that when you bring a needle into your life, things get a lot worse real quick,
I
and
really appreciate that.
so I think after I mean, the height of it was, I spent 15 years of my life in prison because of poor choices I made while I was high, robbing people, at gunpoint, and being a fool, And the thing about my disease is that, I'm really manipulative. Okay, and I was able to shoot dope for all those 15 years I was behind the wall. I got a job in the prisons, running passes because I knew that's the only place in the prison I could find an insulin syringe. I was always 5 steps ahead when it came to getting high. I knew that I had to do this, and this in order to get that drug in my body. So I was going to make sure that I did it. Um, but yeah, I would say the worst of it was when I lost my daughters. My daughters are my world today. And I've said many times in videos that I've done, on social media, that my children were never enough to get me clean and sober. My daughters were never enough for me to stop. And even though at the height, when the courts were saying, "Oh, we're going to give you another chance, Dru, get your stuff together, or we're taking your girls," and you know what, that was I didn't care. And in my last overdose, I experienced was in September of 2015. And I remember waking up, with the tubes in your mouth, and you're all, don't even know where you're at. You're just coming to, and it was an empty hospital room, but I could hear somebody crying. Okay, I could hear somebody crying. It was like nobody was in there, but I hear somebody's in here because somebody's crying, and I know it ain't me. And I look at the foot of my bed. It's my 9-year-old daughter bawling. She was the only one. I don't even know why she was the only one in the room. I wonder where everybody was at. But her, there she was. And I looked at her, and she says to me through tears, she's like, "Daddy, why am I not enough for you to stop?" And I'm like, I had no answer for her. I had no answer for her. There was no, what could I say? Because she was right. Because she wasn't enough for me to stop. And so, and it was 2 hours later, I was out the door shooting dope again. As soon as they released me, and I didn't get clean. My clean date is February 26, 2016, is the day that I started living. And started understanding. I don't preach God to people because that's not the kind of guy that I am. But I know that God is my saving grace, and He's the reason why I am who I am today. He's given me an amazing platform because of the program of recovery that I work in my life. I'm a 12-step guy. My story starts. I'll say it like this: I am a product of drug court. I'm a huge supporter of the drug court program. I actually travel around the country advocating for the drug court program. I know that you guys are involved in that, and I love it, because and I got introduced to a 12-step fellowship through drug court. So, but yeah, that's the height of my addiction. I would have to say, brother, was that when I lost my girls, and I didn't get clean right away, even after I lost them. And I let myself pity. I lost my daughters. Now I got to get high even more now, right? And that's just where my disease took me. It took me to the, and yeah, and I've been with the same woman for 10 years. Okay. And she came into my life at about the time that I lost my daughters, at the height of my addiction. And she said, I don't even know what she saw, but she said she saw something in the first couple weeks that she met me, that there's something special in me. And I don't know what she was looking at, because I was not the guy that you should have been looking at. She should have turned around and ran the other way quickly, you know, and I gave her every reason to run away. The first 24 hours we met, I'm over here getting slammed in the ground in Walmart because I'm trying to, I got 7 grams of dope in my pocket, and she's out in the parking lot waiting for me because she bought in, she's a normie. Okay. She bought into my manipulative lies that I was going in there trying to get something. I don't even know what I was going to get, but I lied to her because I was going in there to steal, right? I was going in there to steal something. And I knew, you know, that they were watching me. So I put it back, but the guy stopped me and he's like, you know what, let me check your pockets. Of course, I get real, I beef up. I'm not telling you, I'm not showing you nothing, you know? And I didn't care about nothing or nobody. Okay. And about the time city police start pulling up, I see them at the Walmart glass doors there. And now I know I got 7 grams in my pocket. It's time to go, you know, because now I'm going to jail, real jail. This is just a rent-a-cop right here from Walmart. Now that guy's, he can put me in jail. So, I push the guy down. I run out the back of the store. I climb a 20-link chain fence behind Walmart, fall down, break my ankle. I'm over here hobbling. The cop tells me to stop. I'm still not stopping, right? I'm like, he freaking gets me, right? Pulls this, I thought it was a gun. I'm like, I flip the cop off and say, you can't shoot me. I ain't doing nothing. It was a taser gun. I forgot about that thing. That's a real thing, man. And that ain't no fun, you know? But that was the first 24 hours after meeting my fiance. And she stayed with me in my sickness. This woman stayed with me. I'm like, today, I thank God she did. You know, we're getting married in June 12th of this year. And so, but the first 7 years of our relationship was the worst. I mean, she wasn't normie, so I was able to hide it. You know, I put my needles in my shoes. She never grew up around drugs. She didn't know anything about drugs. She didn't know anything about the lifestyle. She grew up in a good Christian home. She graduated high school. She graduated college. Perfect target, you know, perfect mark. She was the perfect one for me because she had no idea what I was doing. I go in the bathroom, do a shot of dope. She's out watching TV, wouldn't know no better, you know, and I was able to do that. She didn't know I was an addict for about the first 2 years we were together. And I was at the height of my addiction when I met her. So that tells you how I was able to hide it from, you know, now if I was to get was one of us, they're peeping the signs quickly. Okay. So I think, you know, God, I was thanking God at the time. Thank you for giving me this woman I can manipulate, because everybody else needs to, you know? That's just me being honest. And I'm sick to say that, but I'm a real guy. I don't sugarcoat nothing. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I felt that way, you know. And you know, my disease progressed and it progressed. I'm no different than any other addict in the world, you know. I had to get myself to a crossroad, right? I had to come there, you know. When you get sick enough, you'll make a different move. Okay. When you're broke enough, you'll push forward into something different. You know, we like to pride ourselves on being these Billy badasses in active addiction, but we were the scariest people in the world. You know,
Terrified.
who we lying to? What the reason why we put all those drugs in our bodies, because we were too scared to live in the reality, right? We didn't want to deal with consequences. We didn't want to deal with the courts and the probation and all the crazy, nasty crap that we were doing. And let's get real honest about who we were as people. We were criminals. We were liars, manipulators. We were the bottom feeders of our communities. You know, but you know, a lot of addicts don't want to say that. I'll say it for you. It's the truth, and I don't shut it.
No, we preach that, man. Yeah, that rigorous honesty. You know what I mean? We have a fine line between brutal and rigorous. You know what I mean? It's a fine line.
I'm not over here to coddle and baby nobody, spoon feed you. You know, if you want that, Dru Hicks ain't your guy. There's plenty of people in the country that probably will baby you, coddle you, spoon feed you, but that's not what you're gonna get when you come over here and ask me for help. Okay, I'm gonna tell you about yourself, just like my sponsor told me about myself, and I got all my boo-boo feels, didn't like it, but it's what I needed to hear, you know. And thank God for that man who's got 31 years clean and sober, you know, telling me how to live my life. You know, I needed a grown-ass man to tell me how to live my life. You know, my father couldn't do it. My father was a normie. My father didn't understand. He didn't have that connection. We didn't have that common denominator of the disease of addiction. There's 7 children in my family growing up. I'm the only addict. My mom and dad didn't drink or smoke cigarettes. Nothing, not even nothing. All my siblings didn't do nothing. Where the hell did I get it? You know, it's like, and I use that as a way to to keep a relationship with my mother. I manipulated and used my mom. You know, I'm the only person in this whole family that struggles with this disease. I need your help. Don't leave me. And she stayed with me because she loves me. I'm her baby, right? And I was able to manipulate that until finally she had to draw a line in the sand and said, I'm done with you. You know, my dad, it wasn't hard for my dad's old school. And my dad's watching down on us tonight. I lost my dad 2 years ago. I was able to give my dad 2.5 years of my recovery before he left, though, thank God. And but my dad, in the beginning, when I was 17, he found out about me shooting dope. He said, get out of my house. You know, my father was a good Christian man. He worked his ass off. You know, him and my mom made a lot of money they did life right. They did investments. They did save money. They took care of their families. You know, I wasn't the addict who was raised on the other side of the tracks. Okay, I come from an upper middle class family. I was adopted, you know, at a young age, and that's where my trauma stems from. We all have trauma in some sort of, you know, in our life.
Yeah.
My trauma stems from my biological family. You know, I was beaten and sexually molested at a young age for many years. And so, but coming into my new adopted family, I manipulated a therapist because I had to go to therapy once they yanked me and found out about all that crap. Go to therapy, tell that therapist all about all that. Now, I'm not telling nobody nothing. I was already ashamed and felt disgusted with myself as it was, you know. And I think that, you know, at a young age, I had addict qualities. You know, I manipulated that therapist into believing that I was okay, you know, give the feedback to my new adopted family that Dru's doing good. You know, I gave him enough for him to give me a good compliment, comments, just enough to get over this therapy and get on with my life. All I did was bury it. Didn't want to talk about it, you know, kind of just gave him enough for him to think, okay, Dru's getting better. But I didn't give him shit. He wasn't getting it. I promise you, I was not going to relive that ever again. I made a decision once I got yanked from that situation, me and my two brothers, I wasn't ever going to talk about it again. I didn't want to talk about it with my brothers who had to endure it with me. We just didn't talk about it. We know we went through it. We know it happened, basically swept it under the rug and act like it was going to disappear. But as we know, as addicts, we don't handle our business. It's coming back. It's going to come back. And it came back.
We avoid it at all costs.
Yeah.
It came back at 16 years old. It came back like tenfold. I started thinking about it, started replaying that tape of that sick, disgusting woman doing the things that she did to me. I was getting mad. I was getting angry. I was getting disgusted. It was a bunch of mixed. It's a big ball of stuff I didn't want to feel and deal with. So what I do what they do. I went and got high. Okay. I found my comfort in cocaine. You know, I developed a very expensive habit at the age of 16. I'm doing 3, 4, 8 balls a week at 16 years old and with no job. So you have to understand that's expensive. So now I'm out there robbing, stealing, manipulating, breaking into my parents' safe, my siblings, all robbing their jewelry. I did what we all did, you know. Yep. And I'm not exempt from the disgusting POS I was in active addiction, but you know, that was what it was like for me. You know, I always felt extremely out of place. I would be in a room full of 100 people and felt like I was extremely alone. I never found my tribe until I found recovery. Okay. I always thought I was unique too. I always believed that I was that addict that was out there just struggling worse than everybody else. Right. Poor Dru. Nobody had to go through what Dru went through. Yeah. You might have had stuff going on, but he ain't bad as mine. You know, I was always comparing my trauma to somebody else's trauma. Okay. You ain't been through nothing, man. 15 years in the joint, beaten, molested. You ain't got all that on your resume. And it ain't about that. You know, everybody's trauma is what their trauma is, regardless of how severe it was or how unsevere it was. If it was severe enough for them to put a drink or drug in their body, then it was severe enough, right? So, you know, I was just who I was, you know, and through a program of recovery, and like I said, drug court, huge fan of drug court. I graduated the drug court program back in 2017, and you know, and I was introduced to 12-step program. You know, I work at NA program along, you know, with an amazing sponsor who's worked at an NA program for 31 years. You know, I've worked the steps 4 times. I've worked the traditions 4 times. I've walked numerous gentlemen through the steps myself. Just basically doing what the program tells me to do. You know, once you learn to get it, you give it back, right? You give it back. You show and you guys, like I said, you guys have watched numerous videos that I do on social media. I have a huge presence on Facebook, but that's honestly wasn't what I was shooting for. I really wasn't. I was just trying to go out there. I started my platforms on my personal account like everybody has, and just doing live videos, and people started commenting, feeding back. I started a group on Facebook called Clean and Sober, That's What's Up. which I currently have about 90,000 members in that group. And it was inspired to me from my daughter, you know, at Sober Living. You know, I was sitting on the front porch, decided I'm gonna make a Facebook group. Didn't think it would take off the way it did. You know, my daughter called me every day for the first 2 weeks. Said, "Daddy, you still clean and sober?" "Yeah, baby, of course I am." That's what's up. Clean and sober. That's what's up. That's how we found it. My daughter is my inspiration in that group, one of the larger groups, recovery groups on Facebook. And I have a big platform on my public figure page when I have well over 241,000 followers. And I have a clean and sober page also with over 70,000 followers. So, you know, God's giving me these platforms, you know, where I can reach thousands and thousands of people all around the world. And it can be overwhelming, but I simply, you know, what I've been taught to create boundaries, have balance, focus on what's most important in your life. My family, my fiance of 10 years, my daughters, you know, doing a lot of things in my community where I live. I do a lot of things. Everybody knows who I am, you know, and so, and that's just who I am, man. And I've learned to get out of my way. Most important, to get out of your way, because Dru's the problem. See, that drink or drug that I blamed for being the problem was never the problem. I was told it's just a symptom of the disease that I carry in my brain. You know? It was just a symptom. I've always been the problem, but I had a hard time turning the camera around looking at me, which is funny because I'm always in front of the camera today, right? I had a hard time doing that because I didn't want nobody looking at me, and everybody finds this so hard to believe. In my active addiction, I was a very shy guy. I didn't come out of the bathroom. I was that guy who was behind the bathroom door for hours and hours and hours. And when it got dark out, I made my moves. Get my dope, caught my stuff, sold my dope. I was like a vampire. When the sun started coming up, oh God, it's time to get inside. You know, I didn't want nobody to see me. I wanted to do all my dirt, get inside before the sun came up. And then during the daytime, which I never slept because I was a meth addict, coke addict, anything. I was a tweak freak kind of go guy, you know, but towards the end of my addiction, it was anything I could put in a needle. Heroin, fentanyl, cocaine, meth. I put them all in the needle together, you know, and whatever. I just never could get high enough. I was never satisfied. You know, we chase that first one our whole life. We chase it. It's never tastes the same. It never gets you to that point where you felt the first one. It's just, I was just, man, I chased and chased and chased. I've experienced 3 overdoses. And my first overdose while I was in prison, before Narcan was ever a thing. You know, I'm a little older than most addicts. I'm 47. I got clean at 42. So my first drug overdose was back in 1995-ish. And I overdosed sitting on a bathroom toilet in prison, you know, and I woke up in a tub of ice. That's how they handled a drug overdose. Threw you in a big old tub of ice. If you woke up, God bless you. If you didn't, well, you know what, you know, but I woke up and it was just never enough. Okay. Once I woke up from that first overdose, I was like, well, I guess we'll try it again. Yeah. You know, I was a sick person, man. And I was just consumed in my own self-pity. You know, I was a victim. You know, I was a victim. That's what I always thought. I unfortunately have to carry this disease they call addiction. And I went through trauma and abuse and being molested. I was always a victim. We already know today, if we're a victim, that's exactly where we're going to stay. We can't move. You're stuck. You're stuck right there, bro. You ain't going nowhere. If you always carry with you, I've been a victimized, and that's just what happened. Unfortunately, you're going to stay right there. You will not move. And it's unfortunately, it's a very disgusting and sick place to be. Okay. Because then along comes our old behaviors and old character defects of lashing out at people and being disgusting and being miserable. We want our misery to be in their life because we want company with it. Okay. We don't want to be a nasty, miserable mother by ourselves. Okay. We want somebody to be sitting right beside us. But, you know, after, you know, working the steps for the first time, I really, truly seen who I wanted Dru Hicks to be. You know, I realized that coming into recovery was a chance to build from scratch, right? Start over completely from the ground up, you know, and I had to ask myself questions, and I always challenge brothers and sisters around the world. Now ask yourself a question here, you know, who do you want to be? You know, get an idea in your mind who you want to be, and then go get it. Okay. The chains have already fell to the ground. You know, you're free to walk amongst this world now with your head held high, you know, in the direction that you choose. This disease no longer dictates the direction that you're taking your life. You're now put this to bed. You've arrested this disease through a process of recovery, through a 12-step program, through drug court, through God. You're able to now be you. You know, God didn't put us on this earth to wallow in self-pity and to hurt people, you know, and to hurt ourselves, you know. Our glory has already been you know, it's coming. It's already been, he's already promised it, you know. And so, and now it's time to move into that promise. You know, I was given two things when I came into recovery: God and a promise. And the promise in the program that I work says freedom from active addiction. Freedom from active addiction. You mean I can be free? Because I've always believed that I was imprisoned. I felt imprisoned. It wasn't like, oh, I'm just in prison. I felt that. I felt every bit of being imprisoned from the inside. I knew there was something wrong in my head. I knew there was. I knew there was something wrong with my thinking. It wasn't normal to not give a shit about your children. Okay? It wasn't normal to rob and steal from your mom and dad who loved you, who adopted you. These people brought me into their family, you know, and raised me like their own kid, didn't show me any more or less attention than anybody else. I was their son. They treated me as their son. And it wasn't normal to be like that to the people that I loved the most. I knew there was something that I hadn't handled, and I knew it stemmed from the trauma I experienced as a young kid, things that I didn't want to feel, because as addicts, we have a problem with our feelings. We don't want to get in there and deal with that. You know, that's why we mask up. You know, that's why we hide. That's why we isolate. That's why we put that drug in our body. It's that escape. You know, but we don't read the fine print. Along comes this thing called the disease. You know, and we were never in control. We lied to ourselves. We were out of control from day one. You know, as soon as all of y'all and me put that drug in our body, it was lights out, game over. We were off to the races. You know, it's amazing when you learn how to get out of your way and let a process of recovery and let God, you know, what your higher power become who you are. You know, and we learn to love. You know, and as addicts, I think we search for love our whole entire life. We try to find it in a person. We try to find it in a drug. We try to find it in a drink. We can never find it. You know, there's something really screwed up between our left and right ear, right? You know, and we were always searching and trying to fill that void with all the wrong things. Recovery's shown me, you know, that I can fill it with the right things. You know, and I can be maybe not normal, so to speak, but I can love, and I can support, and I can encourage, and I can kick other brothers and sisters in the ass and get them moving forward too. You know, and that's what I choose to be with my platforms and who I want to be as a person today.
Man. Oh, he's pretty much answered.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sister. You got something to say to me? Say it to me.
What happened in your addiction?
What happened?
Yeah, to make you change.
My gift of desperation. I didn't say anything about this, but we all get a gift of desperation. Okay. Mine came at the end of a 12-gauge shotgun. My car was surrounded by drug task force. I just told you guys earlier about my last drug overdose. My daughter was crying at the foot of the bed. As soon as I got out of the hospital, like I said, I was off. I hit the ground running again. Okay, so slinging more dope. You know, I was plugged in with some really heavy hitters. Okay, and went and copped a substantial amount of methamphetamine, heroin, and a pistol. Well, copped all that. Come back to my hometown. I got a call. Somebody wanted to try to cop some dope. I was hooking this girl up. I've known her my whole life. And I meet her at a Taco Bell park. I'll never forget it. It was like yesterday. 3 o'clock in the morning. Doesn't look suspicious. No cars in the parking lot. And I'm making it. I got some weight in the car. Dumbest thing anybody could have ever did, even if it wasn't a setup, which it turned out to be a setup. And she had gotten in trouble. Of course, she didn't want to. She set me up. And I had 12, 15 drug task force surrounding my car. You know, I still today don't know where those cops came from. They must have jumped off. They must have jumped off the Taco Bell roof. They weren't. It was a wide open parking lot. There was nobody there because I was paranoid already. I was tweaking. So I'm looking around because you always think it's a setup, right? You always think it's a setup. And I'm looking around. There's no cops. I was sure I was good. Man, I had a 12 gauge put the back of my head like it was like now. And I'm like, and I even said it. Where did you come from, bro? You know, I'm like, I was just shocked. I mean, you guys, way to go, man. You guys did your job here, because I didn't see him coming. And I had a 45 under my seat. And I wasn't going to jail. I made that choice. I'm not going to jail. I'd done spent 15 years in prison already with the weight I had in the car and this handgun. Now I'm going to do the rest of my life. They're going to throw the book at me, habitual criminal, habitual drug trafficker, I was getting ready to spend the next 50 years of my life. Mind you, I was 42. So that's the rest of my life. And that's 85% here in Indiana. So there goes the rest of my life. And I was going to do the whole suicide by cop. I was going to pull that pistol. With the cop, with the firepower I had wrapped around my car, they were going to kill me. You know, and I knew it. But as I did that, I had my hand on the butt of the gun. He kept saying, "Where's your other hand? Where's your other hand?" I kept hearing that in my ear, my left ear. And my other hand was on that gun, you know, and I was going to pull it up and just, they would have done their job and killed me. They would, you know, and I seen Chloe and Peyton, my daughters. I drove an Eclipse at the time, a little sports car. If you know anything about Eclipses, they got these little circle speedometers. They're real small. It was enough for me to put a picture of my little girls in it, right? Well, my daughters were staring at me. And I felt really guilty, like I was just gonna let them watch me die. Okay. It was something that came over me all of a sudden. I think it was God telling me to look at my kids, you know, and just so I could let go of the gun and not get killed. I really wanted to die. You know, that I really wanted to die. I was gonna do anything in my power not to spend the rest of my life in prison, you know, but I'm not gonna die in front of my kids. You know, I'm not gonna die with them staring at me like that. But it was enough for me to let go of the gun. You know, of course I went to jail, and I remember when I went to the cell R6. It's going to be part of my recovery tattoo when I get around to getting it done. Busy man I am. But the cell I was in cell R6. I remember that cell, and I was, you know, we've all said a lot of foxhole prayers in our life. You know, God, just get me out of this one. You know, if you get me home safe with the dope in my pocket and not go to jail, I promise you, after this bag, I'm done. You know, man, I've said a million of those. First time my whole life, I got on my knees in that cell. I was broken. That was February 26, 2016, my clean date. I hit my knees, and I remember the prayer. I have it here written in my NA Living Clean book. And I remember it's written. You can see I got words and stuff. It says, where is it? Right there. All right. It says, God, I know I don't deserve this. In fact, I know that, you know I don't deserve this. But if you can throw me a bone, I promise you I will devote my life to recovery. And not only will I devote my life to recovery, I promise you I'll pull as many addicts out of that sick and disgusting dark world with me. You know, and but I meant it. Okay? I actually meant it for the first time in my life. And I never meant any prayer I said to God. I never did. Okay? But I meant this one. And I went, and then I detoxed. In the next 2 weeks of my life, I detoxed. You know, if I shaked around like a fish on the floor, because I was extremely addicted to heroin at that time too. And I was just done. You know, I was done. And I detoxed in jail for a couple of weeks. I was end up being in jail for about 2.5 months, and I was working at a plea bargain. My first plea bargain was 55 years. That was the first one I drew. You know, and this is it.
You out, man.
Football numbers.
Yeah.
But this is where I know God's a big part of Drew's life, because he had a plan for Drew to help a lot of other people. Okay. And I had a probation officer. Like my fiance, Erin, told me, I seen something good in you years ago. She had been my probation officer for off and on for almost 25 years. You know, same. And I love her. I'll say her name, Renee. I love you. If you ever watch this video, I work with Renee today to help addicts find recovery. So, but she was going to bat for me behind the scenes that I didn't know about. They started this new program called Drug Court, and it was new in my hometown. And she was like, I got the perfect candidate, Dru Hicks. I'm like, are you crazy? This guy is going to make a mockery of this program. We're not putting Dru Hicks on Drug Court. He's the worst of the worst. And I was in my area, you know, 13 felony drug convictions, 56 misdemeanor drug convictions, you know, I wasn't a good guy. I was a really, really disgusting, and I was a bad man. I really was, you know, got to take ownership of who I was. But she kept fighting for me, finally they said, all right, we're gonna let him, but if he makes a mockery of this, Renee, this is on you. You're gonna take, you know, if Dru takes off running, because I had rabbit in me too. I was the guy, catch me if you can, you know. They called me to the front of the jail cell one day and pulled me out in this hallway. It was a drug court lawyer, you know, and he said, we're gonna give you drug court. I'm like, I didn't even know what drug court was. I'm like, what's that? He's like, we're gonna let you out. And there's where he sold me. As soon as I heard gonna let you out. Last week I had 55 years. Now I'm being told I'm being let out. What do you think I'm gonna do? I'll sign whatever you want to sign because I'd already made a plan. Time to get high, time to get going. Right? That's what I thought. I had to go to court the next day because I had to be sentenced. Right? They ended up sentencing me to 56 years. If I didn't graduate drug court, that was what they held over my head, 56 years. No pressure, right? You're giving, I made every mistake any person could ever make their whole life. And now you're telling me I can't make no more mistakes or I get 56 years? What do you think? I was, but part of the plea bargain was I had to go to a sober living house in my hometown. I had to graduate that program too, which was an 11-month year program. So I didn't get free. I had to go to a sober living house, right? So, and I didn't leave my room for the first 3 days. I was scared to death because I didn't trust myself. I was wanting to go get high so bad, but then again, I've been clean for about 2 months. So I'm now got a little bit of wits about me. I'm thinking about my kids. It's time to do something different, Drew. It's time to do something different. Remember the prayer? The prayer that I meant that kept ringing back. God kept throwing it back in my ear. Hey, I'm going to hold you to that. So I tried. Okay, I made it, and I told myself, all right, we're going to try this thing called recovery because I'd never tried it until that point. 25-year active addiction, 22 years of that was IV drug use. Never tried recovery, never made an attempt to 12-step program. Didn't even know what NA or AA was until I got into drug court. So, yeah, I made a go at it, and I think when God fully realized I committed to this life, he released and took that obsession from me because I've never experienced a trigger, a craving, not one of those ever since I've been clean. Not one. After I got through the initial withdrawal in the county jail, I never experienced another craving or trigger my whole recovery. And I'll be 5 years clean this coming February 26th. So
no fronts, man.
No fronts. I promise you, I'll earn every freaking day. I promise you, I'm gonna earn every day of that. And but I got, it's just my life is so amazing today. It's just.
And that kind of segues into the next question. What is your life like now?
Well, as you guys know, I have a large social media platform. I help thousands of people around the world find recovery. I have numerous resources for anybody in any state in this country and for like 12, 15 other countries. I've assembled resources, my own personal. I've done all the legwork, facilities that will take you without insurance, Medicaid, private insurance. I don't deal with the private industry no more because I was part of that. I actually worked in the private treatment industry for about 3 years, and just walked. I don't have anything bad to say about it, but it's just not who I am today. I like to do it was freely given to me. Let's freely give it back to somebody else. Let's be honest. 90% of the people who struggle today, they don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. Okay, let alone private insurance. Okay, so I've assembled Medicaid, state resources facilities in every state in this country that I provide to people who reach out needing help. And I caution, a lot of addicts, when I throw you a life raft, you can't throw it back at me and bitch about it because it's not the right color. Okay. If you want to get clean, you can get clean in the county jail basement if you want to get clean. Okay. You don't need Club Med to get clean. Okay.
No,
I used to work for one of those Club Med facilities. Okay. So I'm going to tell you right now, they don't offer anything that any other state facility doesn't offer. You're just in a better location. That's all it is. Your insurance money's paying for the beach and the ocean. That's what it's paying for, It's not paying for the quality of care. They like to say, oh, it's a better quality of care. I work there. Don't burn that bullshit on me, And if you want to get clean, you get clean in a jail basement, Medicaid facility. Like I said, I provide resources. I do a lot of live videos. You guys know me from a lot of my videos that I do. That's kind of what the country and the world knows me from today is that you can always count on Dru Hicks to go live at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, depending on if it's a weekday or weekend. I do live I look at myself today as an example from where you can come, because believe me, when I say I was at the lowest that you could go, I was, and but today I'm different. I've been given this gift of desperation, and I took it and I ran with it. and because I knew at 42 years old that I wasn't going to get too many more chances, and it, like I said, with them throwing all those big plea bargains at me, 50 years, and I was thinking I already bought into it. I was spending the rest of my life in prison. So I knew if I messed this up, God was going to show me, all right, lights out, bro. I gave you another chance, and you probably, and I didn't deserve it, but I took what God gave me and I ran with it and I embraced it and I found this guy. This is the guy that I found, and I fell in love with this guy, and I fell in love with I acquired some self-worth about myself, and in doing that, I was able to be the father that my daughters always wanted, and always needed. I was able to be the fiance to my fiance, the one that she always deserved, and what she saw in me, that glimpse of hope 10 years ago, I'm able to follow through with that today. I am that guy today, and I back it up. So that's who I am today.
That's an inspiring story, man.
Yeah.
It's a really inspiring
Yeah.
story.
Thank you.
Touch bases on a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
really inspiring, I think, for some of the drug court people in this county, because we see a lot of them in and out, and they finish the program and then it's like, all right, I'm done. I go right back to what I was doing.
Yeah.
And
I mean, brother, you're right too. I see it in my hometown too, because when I graduated drug court, I'm the only person who's not went back out. And there's been numerous people have graduated the program, because I stay in touch with the drug court people who run it in my town. I kind of, I go in and I speak to the drug court people. I do the stuff, and I see people graduating. They're on cloud nine, right? They're everything. They're working their programs, and then it's like a week or two, I'm seeing them back in the paper again.
Right.
Like, and I think a lot of this is where I've talked to the counselors, and I've talked to numerous doctors all across the country and around the world. Being who I am and what I do today. Giving them the perspective of what an addict thinks and feels. So I think age is a lot of contributing factor too. When you're young, you're really impressionable. You ain't done with the bar scene. I still want to go out and have fun and do all that. I don't want to be cooped up in my house being responsible. I'm 22, right? I'm supposed to be in a bar.
Right.
There's that false sense of what this country and what it does when you turn 21, right? You're supposed to be at the bar. No, you ain't. People like you and I, we can't go to have the bar and have one. We can't do that. We're not those kinds of people. Unfortunately, we got a deep-rooted obsession inside us that wants more. One is too many, thousands never enough. Never enough. So, I think age and trying to fit in and being impressionable and being young is a lot of whether an addict is going to be successful or not successful. And then also there needs to be some aftercare involved in here. Okay.
Yeah.
Up on
Yeah.
those brothers and sisters. What are we
Right.
doing? Are we holding them accountable? Are we calling, we just basically cut them that charge that they had for drug court, that's gone. Okay. They're free to do what they want now. What do you
think they're going to do?
Yeah.
Right.
That's
I'm
what
not justifying their poor bad choices. What they're doing is
program
wrong.
No, my bad. I graduated drug court program in 2016, and that night I had a needle in my arm. 8 months later, I was in prison, and
brother,
I got gifted another drug court program here in the county that we're in now, and I knew I had to do everything the exact opposite of the way I did it before. You know what I mean?
But
And
then
then that was a lot of years.
there's both sides of that. I don't want to say that all young people, because there's some young people watching this that will watch this video. They're saying, hey, I'm trying to do it right, Drew. I'm 22. Hey, I love you for your effort. If you're 22 and you're 23 and you're young and you're 20 doing this, hey, I love you, man. Keep doing what you're doing. All I'm saying is, as a whole, that's a lot of the reasons.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there are a few diamonds in the rough that are out there doing it at a young age. And let me tell you something. I envy that brother and sister who's 22.
Me too, man.
I
Me too.
didn't get clean till I was 42. I pissed off I was a middle-aged man, 42 years old. You're supposed to have a nest egg for your children, some college fund, and all that stuff. I had 3 days worth of clothes in a black trash bag. That was it. Nothing. I had nothing, and I had no money. I was, today, I have those nice toys and stuff today, but that's because I work, and I make money legally and do things the right way. I've been doing this for almost 5 years. And so I've had a chance to build that and do it the right way. And lo and behold, when you do it the right way, you get things. It's not rocket science. You hold a job down, you learn, you get a home. I'm actually moving into a house. Buying a house for me and my fiance and our 3 children that live at home. And, I don't want and need all that money in the world today, though. You know, I used to make really good money at those private facilities. I made 6-figure salaries, but I don't need that. What Dru needs today, you can't buy. Okay,
Right.
there's not a price tag on and I got it. I don't need it. I got that beautiful woman, that solid woman who put up with me for 10 years when she should have ran day one. Okay, I got children that I love more than anything in the world who look to her father today in admiration and knowing that they're not, my kids aren't worried about me going to get high no more. And they're scared to death that dad was going to go back out, eventually be that disgusting father that they've always known. Today, they look at me in admiration. They look at me, you know, my dad's famous. My dad does a lot of people. He helps a lot of people. He does right by people. He doesn't hurt people. You know, he's out there trying to do his best to change things in the world today. You know, things that your children are proud to look at you and see that's who you are today. You know, my daughters. You know, I get it. They look at me and they need me to be an example for them. You know, and I try to be today when it comes to my little girls. I try to be the standard from which they're going to judge all men moving forward. Okay, I know how I treated women in my active addiction, and even part of my recovery, I know how I treated women. You know, I'm no saint. You know, but today, through a process of recovery and being honest with myself, okay, I've been able to build this guy and be the example for my little girls. You know, you ain't going after that guy, that bad boy with tattoos on his face and just knows how to say the right things. You know, I'm extremely vigilant for my children, you know, not just myself and my recovery, but for them. You know, I'm a dad. I'm supposed to protect them, provide for them, love them, and nurture them. And so my daughter Chloe's 15, and she's a really pretty young lady, and she's starting to catch the other guys' eyes now. And then she tells them, my dad's Dru Hicks, and they don't talk to her again. That's good, bro. Go around and go.
Yeah, straight up,
yeah. That's good. But, you know, I'm not trying to scare her. There's some really good young men out there. My daughter, you know, there's actually one that she's actually is dating now. He's a good kid, gets good grades. He ain't into that stupid stuff, man. Got a great dad, got his, you know, doing things, got plans for his life and going to college. Yeah, you know, I'm not saying all kids are bad. I just know I was. And so I always think every boy is going to be the way I was. And so I'm protecting them. You know, that's my job. God put me here to protect my kids, and that's what I intend to do. So.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, man.
It's been an honor.
Yes,
We really
thank you
appreciate
so
you
much,
coming
man.
and,
Yeah.
and taking the time out to help us and
Yeah.
to help the addicts that are still out there suffering. So
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate what you guys are doing, you know, and I you know, a suggestion for you guys moving forward would be simply to stay consistent. You know, that you may not get what you want when you want, because that's unfortunately how life works. But when I started doing YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, you know, I didn't realize it would ever turn into over 500,000 followers. Okay.
Yeah.
I never really thought that wasn't my goal, you know. And one thing about me from day one to now, what's never changed is striving to continuously help the addict who still suffers.
That's
Okay.
why we're doing
Number
this.
one goal. Yes.
And that's it. As long as you keep that with you, brothers and sisters, you guys are going to grow it. Okay. It's going to grow because it's real, it's genuine, and it's authentic. You know, we're in a world full of fakes. Be something real, you know, be something real, work real programs, talk to real people, and just love and be honest. And it's going to grow, you know. And if any way that I can help you guys grow it, build it, I'll support you. And I love you guys. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, we really appreciate it, man.
yes, we do. I
It's
think I'm gonna go cry.
I'm gonna do some.
Now.
I just want to do some self-promotion, or well, not self-promotion, but I wouldn't be here doing the things that I'm doing right now if it wasn't for my brother and my sister-in-law. And so I just want to mention that if anybody needs an American bully or a band dog, my brother runs a kennel. It's called Molo's Kennel. Please check it out on Facebook. I just wanted to throw that out there because at my lowest point in my life, my younger brother lifted me up and carried me. And I just wanted to show some appreciation. So thank you, Matt and Leslie.
Well, before I go, you know, if anybody doesn't know who I am, you can follow me on all my social media platforms. You know, you can follow me on my YouTube channel, which Clean and Sober, that's what's up on YouTube, /Dru Hicks. Or you can follow me on my Instagram, which is The Real Dru Hicks. That's my handle on Instagram. You can follow me on Facebook, which is I have a public figure page, Dru Hicks public figure page. I have a Clean and Sober, That's What's Up page on social media as well. And I have a group on social media, recovery group called Clean and Sober, That's What's Up. So if you want to, I got a lot of ways you can reach, and I have TikTok. I'm starting to build my TikTok, you know, so
Yeah,
anyway, I can help.
we're working on that as well. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, like, share,
Yeah,
subscribe.
like, share,
We
subscribe.
have shirts.
Hit that subscribe button right now, people. What are you waiting on? Get it on.
Yeah, we started the group, Dopeless Hope Fiends, man. DHF. Yeah, that's it's pretty
Send me,
big
hey,
business.
after the video, guys, send me all the links to all your stuff, man, and I'll help you build it. I'll put a word in for you guys. I'm proud of you guys.
Yes, thank you so much, man. Yeah,
Appreciate
thank you.
it.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, man, yeah,
I guess that's it.
that's it, man. Hey, man, we really appreciate it, Dru.
God bless
Yeah.
you guys.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Palabra.
Palabra.